Mohammed said, "Hey guys, I visited one of those BNI events. Oh, those are like the soup Nazi. Like no soup for you. BNI, like your pitch, you got a certain amount of time, and then they ring the bell, and it's like time to sit down, even if you're in mid sentence. I don't know if you guys have ever been to one, but it's a little bit too rigid for me. But anyways, it says they had a part where everyone stands up and gives a quick intro to what they do. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I've always had trouble with this. It takes me a while to explain what I do, and when I have a short time, I can't make my description memorable enough. Since we do mostly the same thing, what do you guys do at events like these, or anytime someone that asks you? So, Muhammad, I would recommend that you work on an elevator speech, an elevator pitch that you can basically state very clearly what the benefit the benefit is that you can provide to whoever's asking you, right? It's not about what you know or what services you provide. It's about what benefit you can give to them, right? So again, like I always like a quick elevator speech for me would be like I help small businesses create a stronger presence online, which generates leads, builds reputation, and renders their competition irrelevant, right? And that's just enough to get people to say, "Oh, really? Well, tell me more." And that's all. That's all the elevator pitch is, right? Is that something very brief that's intriguing that explains that I can provide a benefit to them, so that, and I leave it hanging, so that basically they come to me and ask me, "Tell me a little bit more about what you said. I'm curious as to what you do," and then that opens up the conversation. And again, you can keep it short and succinct that way. You don't have time, especially in a BNI intro, to tell people what it is you do and how you do it and why they need it. You don't have time for all that. So you can just say, like, I can help your business to achieve more leads or to have a stronger reputation. And I love to use that phrase, render your competition irrelevant. I love that. You can use other stuff like, I help your brand appear everywhere online. Like have complete corporate ubiquity or brand ubiquity, right? You can use stuff like that so that you leave it interesting, but you don't try to over explain, which I know, Muhammad, from our conversations via Mastermind and Hump Day Hangouts, that you tend to over explain stuff to clients. And that's something you'll learn over time to get to stop doing, right? You want to leave it kind of a hanging, like open-ended, so that people are curious. Their interest is, they're intrigued, right? And so they're going to want to come ask you, like, "Hey, explain a little bit more about what you said. I'm curious." And then that opens the door for the conversation. Marco, what would your approach be?
Dude, it depends on how arrogant you want to be. You can go from, I help business owners the way that you did it, or you can say, "I make Google my bitch." That's my business.
Careful who you're talking. You got to know your audience, right?
Seriously, no, you do. But I mean, it just depends on how confident you feel. And that's going to come with how many of these you do. I mean, you can't expect on the first one to get it exactly right. Like Bradley said, you have to practice. Get in there, get in front of that mirror, get a timer, right? You can use those sand clocks are really good for timing, because you can see the little grains coming down. And so you time whatever it is that you're going to say within the time frame that you've been given. And the more that you practice it, the more confident that you feel, the better that it's going to come out. But again, it depends on how arrogant or how it is that you want to frame it, and how receptive the audience is going to be to someone being that brash and arrogant, if you want to go that way, or just someone who's helpful and nice and whatever.
Yeah,
that would be the way that I would approach that, or the way that I've always approached it. It just depends on the person I'm talking to.
So, Mohammed, just so you know, I've been to several BNI events. I won't go to one now. I don't need to, and not only that, I just don't like them. I've never liked how rigid they are. You can go to other like lead share groups from like Meetup.com, for example, and they're typically a lot less rigid, right? They're more relaxed, and so it's a more casual type environment. It's not so like, I feel like I'm not under the gun type, so to speak. So, anyways, that said, I recommend that you work on an elevator pitch, right? And you refine it and practice it in front of a mirror. I know that seems silly, but literally practice it in front of a mirror so that you build your confidence up, get to the point where you've memorized it. But make sure that you don't memorize it and sound like you're just repeating, with a monotonous tone, something that, like, on cue, that you just know to repeat whenever somebody asks you. Don't do that. You want to keep the enthusiasm, guys. Enthusiasm in your pitch, your elevator pitch, is contagious. It'll it'll, you know, carry over. It'll spread to the people around you. If you can be enthusiastic about your own offer, about your own pitch, like other people will get excited. So again, practice it and keep refining it and say it aloud, you know, say it aloud until you really got it memorized and it's natural to you. And then that way, when somebody asks you, you've got it ready, boom, just like that. And it can start a conversation.